Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. K. N. Chaube, Associate Professor, IIMT College of Engineering, Greater Noida. In the course of next 30 minutes or so, I shall be speaking to you about the Indian Contract Act of 1872 with special reference to the contract of bailment and pledge. We start first with the bailment. Section 148 of the Indian Contract Act 1872 explains bailment as the delivery of goods by one person to another for some purpose upon a contract that they shall, when the purpose is accomplished, be returned or otherwise disposed of according to the direction of the person delivering them. The definition of bailer, therefore, is the person delivering the goods is called the bailer, and the person to whom they are delivered is called the bailee. Let's go into a little more details that if a person is already in possession of the goods, what happens? In that case, this contract holds them also as a bailee. He thereby becomes bailee. The very fact that he or she is in possession of goods becomes bailee, and the owner becomes obviously the bailer of such goods, although they may not have been delivered by way of bailment. Some of the examples we can see: A delivers B a watch for repairs. So A becomes the bailer and B becomes the bailee. Similarly, delivery of goods to a courier. You have delivered certain goods to a courier for transportation. So you are the bailer, and transportation in charge, the courier, becomes a bailee. Another example, delivery of goods in terms of like cloth you are giving to a tailor for stitching a suit or any other shirt. So in that case, you are the bailer and tailor becomes a bailee. Some more examples could be like hiring a car, hiring AC, hiring tent. So another example, it could be leaving diamonds with the goldsmith for being studded in gold jewelry. So you are giving diamond to jeweler. So you become the bailer and goldsmith or the jeweler becomes the bailee. Another example, handing over valuables for safe custody to a friend while leaving station. So you are a bailer, and your friend, your neighbor to whom you have handed over your goods for safe custody during your outstation is obviously becomes the bailee. Another example could be leaving luggage at the cloak rooms. We all almost leave our luggage at the railway station cloak room quite often. So in that case, you are leaving your luggage, you are the bailer, and the cloakroom in charge becomes a bailee of your luggage temporarily for the duration and returns at the end. Another example could be depositing documents with the bank security as a security, or for that matter mortgaged against a loan. So you are the bailer and the bank becomes a bailee. So there are three essential elements of bailment. As we can see, delivery of goods, contract, and a return. So these three are essential aspects, that a good needs to be delivered, and there has to be a contract, and the goods must be returned after the requisite period. Now let's see how many type of bailments are there. These are: first, deposit. This is to keep with bailee for use by bailer. Second is commodatum, wherein lent to friend gratis to be used by him. You have given some, for example, you've given a book to your friend to be read by him. So this is a commodatum, wherein you have lent your book to your friend as a gratis. You are not charging anything from your friend, though you are allowing him to use it, that is to read it. Another could be hire. In this, opposite to the previous one, goods lent to the bailee on hire, that is in return for payment of money. For example, furniture, car on hire. you've given your car to someone on hire and he or she in return pays to you. Then next could be pawn or pledge as security for money borrowed. You have kept some ornament or some maybe a house or anything to bank as security for the money borrowed. Another could be delivery of goods for transportation with reward and delivery of goods for transportation without reward. Now let's see what are the duties of bailer. The duties of bailer includes to disclose the defects in goods bailed to avoid bailee of risk when used. This is section 150. As per section 150, the bailer must disclose the defect, if any, in the bailed goods to the bailee, because if it so happens that bailee suffers some damage on account of non-disclosure of the defect in the goods, then bailer shall be held responsible, accountable for the compensation of the damages suffered by the bailee. And let's see the example of this. A lends a horse which he knows to be vicious to B. He does not disclose the fact to the bailee to B that the horse is vicious. The horse runs away, B is thrown and injured. Obviously, A shall be held accountable, responsible to B for damages sustained. Let's see another example. A hires a carriage of B. The carriage is unsafe, though B is not aware of it, and A is then in that case will be responsible for the injury. Now let's see the next one. Duties of bailer. The second duty will be liability for breach of warranty as to title. The bailer who is handing over the goods must be the owner of the bailed goods, must have the title, the legal title of the goods so bailed, so that someone else later should not come up with the fact that I have superior title. So in that case, the bailer is responsible to the bailee for any loss which the bailee may sustain by reason that the bailer was not entitled to make the bailment or to receive back the goods or to give directions respecting them. The issue here is whether bailer was rightly entitled to bail such goods, provides for the Contract Act in section 164. Then next is to bear expenses in case of gratuitous bailment, whereby the conditions of the bailment, the goods are to be kept or to be carried or to have work done upon them by the bailee for the bailer, and the bailee is to receive no remuneration. The bailer shall repay to the bailee the necessary expenses incurred by him for the purpose of the bailment. Suffice to say that if the bailer has bailed certain goods and the bailee is not getting any payment for that, but if bailee is required to incur certain expenses, then the bailer shall be required to pay to the bailee on account of such work done or payment money incurred, expenditure incurred. Let's see by an example. Feeding the bailed horse, but no gracious payment. For example, treatment of ailing horse. Like A has bailed horse to B for use, and no payment on account of such use is to be made by B to A. However, if the horse falls sick, in that case A, the owner of the horse, must pay to the bailee the expenditure on ailing horse. Next is restoration of goods lent gratuitously. The lender of a thing for use may at any time require its return. Obviously, it means that if A bailed certain goods to B gratuitously, then A is entitled to get back at any time. So, if the loan was gratuitous, even though he lent it for a specified time or purpose, but if on the faith of such loan made for a specified time or period, the borrower has acted in such manner that the return of the thing lent before the time agreed upon would cause him loss, exceeding the benefit actually derived by him from the loan. The lender must, if he compels the return, indemnify the borrower for the loss so incurred on account of return. This is provided for in section 159 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Now let's see in conjunction what are the duties of bailee. Bailee, who is given the possession of the goods, must take care of goods bailed. Like you have given a book to your friend. The friend must ensure that the book is not torn, its safe custody is your friend is, or the bailee is bound to ensure, provided in section 151. Then another section, that is section 154, provides for not to make unauthorized use of goods. Like A has given book to B for reading and B has lent it and earning some money. So unauthorized use must not be done by the bailee. Then like another example could be, you have given your car for B to use and B has is using that car on rent. So this is unauthorized use of goods bailed. So this is prohibited under section 154. Another example, another duty, not to mix bailor's goods with his own. Section 155 to 157 provides for a restriction on bailee to mix bailor's goods with bailee's own goods. It must not be done. It is forbidden because the goods have to be returned in the condition that it was received by the bailee to the bailee. Another duty of the bailee is to return the goods bailed. Under section 160 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, the bailee is duty bound to return the goods after the specified period. Then the last one is to return any accretion to the goods. Under the provision 163, the bailee is required to return accretions, if any, on the goods to the bailor as right person who is entitled. Now let's see the rights of the bailor. Rights of the bailor includes a bailor can enforce by suit all duties or liabilities of the bailee. Another could be in case of gratuitous bailment, bailor can demand return anytime. A gratuitous bailment is simply a goodwill. In that case, the bailor can demand anytime a return of the goods so bailed. Then another example is right to terminate the contract in case of breach. If the contract of bailment has been breached by the bailee, the bailor has right to terminate the contract and seek the return of the goods so bailed. Then another example could be, another right of the bailor provided for is to return to demand accretion, if any, on the goods bailed. Right of the bailor includes that if accretions are any on the goods so bailed, the bailor has right to receive get the accretions on the goods bailed. Now let's see the rights of bailee. Bailee can sue bailor for not disclosing the faults in the goods for breach of title and extraordinary expenses. Suffice to say, the bailor's duties becomes the bailee's right. It is a bailor's, we've just seen that it is bailor's duty to disclose the fault. And obviously, de facto, it becomes the bailor's right to be disclosed of the defects, if any. And if not done by the bailor, then bailee can sue the bailor for the damages suffered or inflicted any. Now, another right of bailee includes section 171, 172 talks about the right of lien on the goods. bailed till debt or claim is paid. So obviously, if you've given your car for repair to a service station, you have to pay a certain amount to the service station. But if you don't pay the amount, then the service station has a right to uh, keep the car in their custody till the claim is paid off by the bailer. So therefore, bailee, here in this case, the service station has right to lien on the bailed goods till the debt or the claim is paid for by the bailer. And this is particularly lien and not a general lien. Section 180-181 talks about rights against wrongful deprivation of injury to goods bailed from the third party as if owner of the bailed goods. So like here in this case we have discussed, it is the bailor's duty that he should bail only such goods for which he or she has a right, legal right. And if one doesn't have the legal right, one should not be giving the goods on bailment, because if someone comes up with a better title, then the bailee will incur loss. So such losses must be compensated by the bailer. So this becomes a right of the bailee to seek compensation on account of defective title and undisclosure thereof by the bailer. Now let's talk about the termination of bailment. When a bailment can be terminated. On expiry of stipulated period, that is, the goods are given for certain period to the bailee, and on expiry of the stipulated period, the bailee is required to return the goods to the bailer in same condition. So this brings the termination of the bailment. That is, on expiry of the stipulated period, the bailee has returned goods to the bailer in the original condition or the particular service as needed having been completed. The second one, on accomplishment of specified period, purpose. When specified purpose has been accomplished, the bailee has to return goods to the bailer. For example, you've given your car to the service station, and once the servicing has been done or the desired purpose has been completed, then bailee, the service station, must return the bailed goods, that is the car, to the owner, the bailer. Next is when bailee does any act inconsistent with the conditions of bailment. Like going ahead with the same example, you've given your car for repairs, and you've gone out for some work out of station for say about a week or so, and meanwhile the car has been repaired, but since you did not come to collect the car, then the bailee, the service station or the car repairer, he or she started using that car on rental. So this is in this act of bailed goods being used to earn money is inconsistent with the conditions of bailment. So therefore the bailer has a right to terminate the contract of bailment. A gratuitous can be terminated anytime. A gratuitous bailment can be terminated. Like you have given your book to your friend to read, you can ask for return anytime. So these are the four conditions wherein bailment act can be, bailment agreement can be terminated. Now let's see another angle of bailment. Finder of a lost good. How bailment is applicable in case of lost goods. Section 168 of the Indian Contract Act 1872 lays down the right to retain until receives compensation for money spent on preserving or amount spent on finding true owner. However, cannot sue for such compensation, but if a reward declared, may retain until receives such reward. Now, the points are self-explanatory, that in preserving the borrowed goods, if the bailee has spent certain amount of money the bailee has right to seek compensation for that. And 169, section 169 lays down right to sell. Under this clause, if owner with due diligence cannot be found or refuses to pay lawful charges, or if danger of perishing is there, the lawful charges, the amount to 2/3 of its value can be recovered. Now here we come to an end of the bailment contract. Now let's see the second contract, that is contract of pledge. Contract of pledge is a specific form of bailment with slight difference we'll discuss later. Under section 172 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, the bailment of goods as security for payment of a debt or performance of a promise is called the pledge. There are two clear conditions laid down in this. The bailment must be as a security for certain debt or performance of certain promise. The bailer in this case is called pawner, and the bailee in this case is called pawnee. The advantage of pledge to a creditor. Let's discuss this. There are four type of advantages. Creditor can dispose of goods in case of default. Let's take an example like A has deposited jewelry with the bank and taken some loan, and that loan is to be repaid by A in say 100 installments. After paying 50 installment, A has stopped paying installments. Then in that case, B, the creditor, the banker, can dispose of such goods in case of default because A has defaulted here. The second one, stocks cannot be manipulated as actual possession is with the creditor. That means the owner of such goods bailed always remains, ownership remains with the creditor. So stocks cannot be manipulated as actual possession is with the creditor. Then safe against insolvency of borrower. If the borrower becomes insolvent, then it is safe. Then it is also safe. The creditor is safe against charges charged with some other person. So these are the four conditions which gives four advantages which a creditor gets in contract of pledge. Now, pledge by non-owners. Pledge by non-owners. Having seen previously the pledge by owners, now let's see pledge by non-owners. In this case, pledge by, like say, mercantile agent. In good faith, but only with consent of owner, in possession of goods or documents with title, it can be pledged. A mercantile agent can pledge. Then pledge by seller or buyer in possession after sale. If kept with seller after purchase or delivered to buyer before sale, is a valid pledge. Then pledge by co-owner. It must be in physical possession of goods and only with the consent of other owner, a co-owner can make a pledge, and this would be a valid pledge. Another could be pledged by a person with limited interest. Such person valid only to the extent of that interest. Like in farmland, there are two owners. So one owner can pledge his or her share. So it will be a valid pledge. Pledged by a person under avoidable contract. This is pledged before contract is rescinded. What are the rights of pledgee? To bring suit against pledger in case of default, then sell the goods pledged after giving reasonable notice to the pledger. However, sale without notice is not void. Pledgee's right not limited to his interest in the goods pledged. For example, bank. Pledgee entitled to recover not only amount due to it but full value of consignment and keep excess amount in trust for pleasure. Now let's see the duties of a pledgee. Duties of a pledgee is to take care of the goods so pledged, no unauthorized use of goods pledged, bound to return goods to the pledger on payment of debt. Any accruals must be delivered to the pledger. For example, bonus declared on an equity pledged belongs to pledger and not to the pledgee. So therefore, it must be delivered to the pledger. What are the rights of pledger? Rights of pledger is to claim back security pledged on repayment. Like if you've taken a loan against some jewelry, after having paid the all installments, then you have the right to claim back the jewelry that you have pledged with the bank as security. The next one is right to receive reasonable notice. It is the pledger's right to receive reasonable notice in case of any action taken by the pledgee on account of perceived or actual default. Then in case of sale, the pledger has right to receive surplus, if any. The goods sold, if some additional money is accrued, which is higher than the amount lent to the debtor, then the excess money must be paid back to the debtor. The pledger has right to receive accruals, if any. Self-explanatory. He has to receive compensation against loss due to mishandling or negligence on the part of pledgee. Let's see the duties of pledger. The duties of pledger is to disclose defect as in case of contract of bailment, compensate pledgee against any damages, make good any shortfall in case of pledgee deciding to sell, and meet extraordinary expenditure incurred by the pledgee, if any. So it is pledger's duty to ensure that he or she makes the compensation paid on account of any extra expenditure incurred by the pledgee in preserving the goods or safety of the goods so pledged. Now, as last part of the lecture, let's see the difference between bailment and pledge. As the two contracts are very similar, as we can see, the delivery of goods by one person to another for some purpose is called bailment, whereas bailment of goods as security for payment of a debt or performance of a promise is called pledge. So this is the basic difference, that in case of bailment, only delivery is for certain purpose, for a specific purpose is called bailment, whereas in case of pledge, it has to be delivery of goods as security for payment or for repayment of the debt or for a specific purpose. The second difference is the bailee can use the goods for intended purpose, whereas the pledgee cannot use the goods so pledged. In mathematical language, we can say pledge is a subset of the set bailment. Now here I come to an end of my lecture. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for giving your valuable time. Thank you.